Hello everyone, I am Shweta and welcome to my channel Analytics by Shweta. In today's video, we will learn how to create a diverging column chart in Excel. If you see, we have questions over here and we have a rating scale provided over here. The rating scale starts from very difficult and goes to very easy, and we have a neutral in between. If you look at the chart, in between this gray portion which you see here is the neutral area. Above the gray, what you see is the easy portion, that is the very easy and the somewhat easy. And below the gray portion, what you see is the difficult portion, the very difficult and somewhat difficult. In rating scales, you can have different scales of examples, such as these are some examples of a rating scale. Very important, unimportant, neutral, important, very important. Or you can have like poor, fair, neutral, good, exceptional. So this chart can be used for any of these scales. If you Google Likert scale examples, you will find different kinds of rating scales. And this chart can be used to prepare analysis of the survey questions and how they fare against each of these questions. So let's proceed to Excel and start creating our chart. In our chart, we have neutral in the center. Above the neutral, we have the easy, and below the neutral, we have the difficult. So what we need to do is we need to represent one point of the data in a positive format and one point of the data in a negative format. So what we will do is we will start with very easy. We will go here and we will refer the data over here, and let us just drag it down. Let's do the same for somewhat easy. We refer the data and we drag it down. Now for neutral, if you see, we have two neutral over here, but here we have only one column. So what we will do is we will divide this by 2 and represent it. So we have divided it by 2. Now these three data points are in a positive format. The difficult portion we will represent in a negative format. So what we will do is we will do minus and then we will refer our data. And let us just drag it down. Let us do the same for somewhat difficult. We do minus and we refer the data. And for neutral, we once again do minus. We divide it by 2 and we drag the data. This becomes our data representation for our chart. These three columns would be in negative, which is the neutral and the difficult, and these three would be in positive, that is the neutral and the easy. So let's create our chart. Select your data, go to Insert and insert a stacked column chart. Now if you see, we have neutral, somewhat difficult on the axis over here. And the stacks are the questions. We want it in the opposite way. So we say switch row columns. So now if you see, we have our questions on the axis and our stacks are the easy, difficult, neutral. Now you need to select your axis, do format axis, go to labels and select low. So if you see, your axis comes here. Now we don't want this line over here in the axis. I'll show you what I mean. If you see this, we have a line over here which shows the axis. So what you need to do is select your axis, go and say no line. So now if you see, your line has disappeared. Next is remove this axis, select any one of the axes and just put it, suppose 45. Adjust it as per you require. So I'll put it 45 for the time being. Then select your questions, go to home, make it black, make it bold, increase the font. Now next step what you need to do is change the colors. This is the easy portion, these two, and bottom is the difficult portion. The blocks in the center, that is this yellow and this blue over here, are the neutral portions. So give them the same color. So we go to fill and we say, give me a gray color. And for this also we select the same gray color. So now it looks like one block. Let's change the colors for the easy and the difficult. You go and you select a green color. You select a blue color. You select a dark red and a red. So if you see, we have given colors to our stacks. Next step is to add the data labels. So add the data labels for all the stacks. And next is select your data labels and give it a white font and bold it and increase it. Let us do the same for all the other data labels also. Now if you see, we have changed the data labels to a white color, made it bold and increased the font. If you see the neutral over here, we have two stacks over here, but we have added the data label only on one stack because we are showing both these stacks as one neutral section. Now if you see, these three are in negative and we do not want it to show it in negative. We want the positive numbers to be shown. So let's select the neutral, do format data labels, do value from cells and select the neutral and say OK. Say value no, show leader lines no. Once again, let's select this. Now this is the somewhat difficult portion. So do format data labels, value from cells and select somewhat difficult and do no value, no leader lines. And the last is the very difficult portion. So you do format data labels, value from cells and uncheck both of this. So right now if you see, we have added the data labels in a positive way. If you update this data, for example, somewhat easy, you put it as 20. You see your data over here has automatically changed. Let us change this 10 also. Let us put it as 15. If you see, this portion will change now. You see, it has changed to 15. The next step is just creating the data labels. If you see, we have a pre-created data labels and you see we have two neutrals over here. These two neutrals is because we have added two stacks. One is a positive stack and one is a negative stack. But when we are showing them in the same color so that it looks like one big stack. Now we can use this and just delete it and use this as your legend. Or what I did in my example, I have manually created a legend. So if you see here in the example which I showed, there is a legend here and I have written what does these legend represent. It is very easy to create it. What you need to do is you need to make your chart a little big. You need to just give it a space over here. Then go to insert, then go to shapes and create a rectangle shape. Shape outline is no outline and shape fill is the fill of the first block, which is the very easy. Then copy it and create your next stack, and this would be in blue color. And we create our next stack, which is in gray color. And let's do the other two as well. We have created our stacks. The next step is to create labels for them. So you go to insert, you go to text box and you write. The first one is very easy. Just adjust your font, shape outline, no outline. I make it bold. I will just select this properly. I will adjust the font as which I require. Just do some adjustments. And the first is very easy. So in this way, you will create data labels for the rest of your section. Let's quickly do that. You see, I have created the data labels and the legends manually for this. Once you do that, you do not require this and you can delete it. Delete your chart title also. Adjust your chart accordingly. If you want, you can add a border to your legends. You can put shape fill, no fill, shape outline, a black outline, and you can give it and this way you create your legend. The top portion is the easy portion, the bottom portion is the difficult portion, and in the center we have neutral. If you go here and for example this 10, which is the very difficult of question 1, we increase it to 25. You see this block over here changes. So it's a completely dynamic chart. There are different scales which I have shown earlier in the video where fair, good, neutral, above average, below average, different kinds of scales which are present in Likert scale. You can see the different Likert scale in Google and you can use it for any of your questions and to show survey ratings and how does what each question of a survey represents. So I hope you enjoyed this diverging column charts. It is called as diverging because it diverges from a positive to a neutral to a negative. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell for more updates. Thank you for your time and have a nice day.